Permaculture Wilmington here, and we are making kale chips, one of our favorite snacks. You can make this as healthy as you want to. You don't have to put anything on it. You can just put this in the dehydrator or an air fryer or the oven even. But we prefer to do it on a dryer. We've noticed that we've used the air fryer and the oven, and they're both really good methods, but they just don't maintain the texture and the flavor that we get from using the dehydrator. And it only takes like 10 or 15 more minutes really. Sometimes 30, depending on the size of the leaves and how much you're doing, how many racks you put on here, how much moisture there is, you know, all these variables. But like I said, you can make it healthy, or you can just go the easy route. I mean, we use Sweet Baby Ray's. So we really like this stuff, and it's so easy to just, you know, go grab some kale like from around the mailbox or something, and you know, just pour a little hot wing sauce on it. But lots of different options. We've done ranch. We've done lots of different spicy options, like different peppers, Tabasco, and Texas Pete. Well, this is definitely a Texas Pete flavor. It's very similar. But a lot of garlic flavoring, like if we make dressings for salads. So a lot of times we'll make like a whole lot of a dressing, and then especially this one dressing that we do that's a ginger dressing, where it's like rice vinegar, a lot of rice vinegar in it, and then we just put a lot of ginger. So like a big clump of ginger, some salt and pepper, and rice vinegar, and then we put Korean chili peppers. Oh man, that's some good stuff. And maybe some onions, or you know, just whatever we're feeling, whatever is available in the garden at the time, because everything's kind of seasonal, you know, when you have a garden. So whatever herbs are out there, but luckily like things like rosemary are there year round. So and we're just getting into a lot more of the permaculture stuff, which is where you have things year round. It's permanent agriculture. So you plant it and it's there, you know, but some things are seasonal, but you know, a lot of the herbs thankfully are not, like for instance the rosemary. And we also get, because we have indoor hydroponic systems, we have a lot of things that we can use in the wintertime that you wouldn't otherwise have access to here because they're seasonal. Alright guys, kale chips. Let's get into it real quick here. We've got our big bowl, we've got our kale. Throw some kale in. And I actually like to chop it up just a little bit. So I'm going to just grab a knife. Yeah, that's a good one. And let's see here. I like to use things like tongs, and then you just run the knife through it in the big bowl. Outstanding. Okay. So once we get a good amount of kale and it's all cut up into fine bits like this, then we just simply put our dressing on it, whatever you prefer. And really this is going to be dehydrated, so you don't have to look at it in terms of the liquid concentration. It's more just for flavor. So you know, if something's a little too thick, then you can just water it down and put it on, and that way you can spread it. Especially things like ranch dressing that have like a real potent flavor to them. You can, and this has a very potent flavor as well. But it almost seems like the more you put on, the better. I mean, I don't know how familiar you guys are with Sweet Baby Ray's, but I love it. It's good stuff. And really, there's not a lot of bad things in it, but there are a few things to help with shelf life, and they're not really the best for us if we consume them in large quantities. So if we consume those things on a regular basis, like every day, then they would build up in our system, and that would be bad. But if you have a biodiverse diet where you have a garden like we do, and you can go out and get a lot of microbial rich foods inside of you, the microbes are going to take care of so much stuff, man. It's like so many things that I'm learning about soil are actually food for microbes. You know, all these things that we're worried about. All right, guys, time for the sauce. Just going to get enough on so that we can mix it around and make sure there's a little bit on each leaf, because the leaves are going to shrink. So as these guys dry out and shrink a little bit, all this liquid that's on there is going to be evaporated, dried out. So we're not looking at it so much in terms of the amount of liquid we're putting in, but rather the coverage area that we're getting. So if we're putting in like a dressing or something on here that isn't quite liquidy enough, then we can just dilute it, and that way we can stretch it and make it spread on all the leaves. So it's really, you know what I mean, it's about really the flavor. So if that's the case and you only have like a little dressing or whatever left over and you just want some kale chips and a real quick snack, this is so wonderful. Because it's really no effort. It's really not much work at all. You just got to pick the leaves and wash them, and then put the dressing on them like this, and then we just throw them on the dehydrator. And when we put them on the dehydrator, we just scatter them around, just so they fit, really. I mean, that's really what it's about. So, like so. And see, like a lot of times they don't sit down all the way, and sometimes I'll put things on top to hold it down a little bit, you know, just because it's a little fluffy, and that'll sit right. But really, it doesn't matter, because as the leaves shrink, it's going to go down and come together anyway, and it'll form a suction and start pulling air through the middle, and everything will dry out. It's all going to be okay, guys. It's not that hard, and we don't have to stress about the little things, right? I do like the air fryer, and we have an air fryer. Our air fryer works wonderfully. We've got the Ninja version, and it's really great, but it's not big, so it doesn't really cook a whole lot at one time. So if we want to do this whole bowl, it would be like 3 or 4 sessions of having to constantly shake it and maintain it. And this, we just put it in there and leave it. And it's good. Like, we come back, and even if we wait too long, you know, it's not going to get so dry that they're not good. Like, if you leave it too long in an air fryer or the oven, they burn. That's no good. And we like to walk around and do things while we're, you know, taking care of cooking and leaving things to cook. And so a lot of times it takes a little bit more time than we like, and we forget about what we're cooking. So if that happens and we use this method, it's still good. Good. Alright, guys. So I've got a few more trays here. So I'm actually just going to divide this up just a little bit. I put it on there a little thick, so since we have some extra trays, that would have worked fine. But since we have the trays and we don't have as much of the foliage, we can go ahead and get some air between it, because it does help it go a lot faster if there's spaces between the leaves. So that will work. That's looking good. So what goes next? And this one. Oh no! Put it on the wrong side, guys. Okay. Outstanding. Cleanup's important. It's a lot easier to clean off sauces when they're wet. Just keep that in mind. Alright guys, I'm going to plug this in, and I'm going to leave it for probably about 30 minutes and check it. And that's usually plenty of time for this amount of foliage. So I hope you guys thought this was interesting, and if you want to make kale chips, you know, show us what you got. And when you're done, if it's your first time or something, you know, and you want to share it with us, we'd love to see it. We'd love to share that experience with you. So, you know, anything like that, any of the permaculture things that we do, and this is permaculture. This is using our harvest. So we grew this, I mean, around our mailbox of all things. You guys can check out the videos, And we've made some locations around the yard that people wouldn't really think to put vegetables, but a lot of the vegetables that we can grow are really pretty. And curly kale is very ornamental, so everybody that passes by is like, what is that? And I'm like, it's kale. But it's around the mailbox, so they don't identify with that, you know? But I highly recommend kale chips, guys, and definitely anything that you're interested in talking about permaculture-wise, send it over to me and we'd love to chat. There's 2 ways to make kale chips in the dehydrator, and that's halfway and all the way, if you're at our house anyway. So when we tell each other that we want them halfway, it means that the kale chips are still a little bit moist. So they still have just a little bit of elasticity to them. But when they get really dry, you can bend them and they'll crackle and break. So that's the other way. When we say we want them well done, or all the way done, then we want them very dry and crackly like that. So I think tonight we're going to wait until they get really dry. And that will also give me the ability to show you guys what that looks like as well, so you can see the crackling effect. So okay, here we go. This is the unveiling of the kale chips. We actually watched a movie and forgot all about them, and then Jess just said that she'd like some kale chips before we go to bed. So here we have it. They are ready. And we can tell by the crackle. Let's see. Oh, nice and crunchy. Falls right apart. That's perfect. Yes, these are great. Nice crunch to them. Hear that? Let's check out some of the lower levels. Let's see, these are all good. Looking good. Yes, completely dry. Perfect. It's like the moisture has just gotten out of them. So it's very close to when they were just dried all the way. Excellent. Very cool, guys. Nice kale chips. Alright, this is Tom with Permaculture Wilmington. Have a great day.